Hello everyone. In this tutorial, we are going to learn about runtime polymorphism or method overriding with an example. Let me recap what is runtime polymorphism. Runtime polymorphism is nothing where derived class override the implementation of either the properties or methods of the base class. With the concept of inheritance, when we are inheriting properties and methods from the base class, there might be requirement where we want to give a new implementation for the base class. That is where the concept of runtime polymorphism comes into picture. So what is the rule to override a method in derived class? The first thing that you need to mark the method or property in the base class should have a virtual keyword. And in the derived class, the method should have the override keyword. We will see this with an example, so do not worry about this right now. So for that, I have already created a simple console application. So what I'm going to do is let me create one class called employee. This employee will have a basic, uh, maybe you will have base salary properties, and we have a get salary method. We are just returning the base salary, and the return type obviously will be integer. Let me do it as auto implemented properties so that we can get and set it. We'll understand what is getter and setter or auto implemented properties in the upcoming videos, so please don't worry about that. So this is a simple method. We have a class employee, we have a property base salary, and we are just returning base salary. Let's say there is a requirement that comes in. There is a new type of employee, for example, contractual employee is added to our organization maybe. So what we have to do is we'll create a class called contractual employee, which is derived from base employee. And this contractual employee class, we will have, I know any contractual employee will be having maybe an hourly rate. Let's say public int get and set. Then the number of hours the employee work maybe in a month. And get and set. So I will set this hourly rate and total number of hours within the constructor of the contractual employee. Maybe I'll say this as rate and number of hours. So hourly rate should be equal to what we are passing to the constructor. Rate total number of hours equal to again what we are passing to the constructor. Okay. Now what we need to do is we need to give a new implementation to this get salary method inside contractual employee. So for that, let me copy this, paste it, and instead of returning base salary, what I will do is base salary plus hourly rate multiplied by total number of hours the contractual employee worked. So this is our get salary method inside contractual employee. So in order to make this as a overridden method in derived class, what we need to do is first we need to mark the get salary in base class as virtual, and then we need to mark the get salary method in the derived class as override keyword. Okay, so we are done with the implementation. If you see, the base salary is inside the base class get salary, and the get salary inside the derived class is marked as override, and this is marked as virtual. That's the reason we are able to override inside the derived class. If you don't mark this method as virtual, you cannot override. Let me try removing this one. You see, we are getting a warning that contractual employee cannot override inherited member employed at get salary because it is not marked as virtual, abstract, or override. We'll understand what is abstract in our upcoming videos. So for now, we need to mark the base class method implementation as virtual. So when we mark a method as virtual and override it in the derived class, what we can do is we can directly point one base class reference to the derived class object. So that we can, access the actual method that is going to be overridden. Employee E is equal to new contractual employee and we'll pass, for example, hourly rate is maybe 100 and the total number of hours the employee worked is 100. Let's give the base salary of the employee as because the contractual employee will have base salary of 0, so we don't need to initialize this. Okay, so now what I can do is e dot get salary, and we'll print this. Directly we can print from here. Let me put a breakpoint here, and let me put a breakpoint here. Let me put a breakpoint in the implementation of the derived class. Okay. Okay, here we are creating the object of contractual employee, which is at runtime because the object creation happens at runtime. So if I go inside the get salary method, you see now it's redirecting to the the overridden method of the contractual employee, or you can say the derived class method. It's not going inside the base class get salary method because even the object reference is pointing to the base class, but the actual object is at runtime and it's pointing to contractual employee. That is the reason it goes to the get salary method of contractual employee. That is the reason it is called as runtime polymorphism, because the actual call to the method is decided at runtime for which object we are calling the method. If it's contractual employee, then it will go to contractual employee. So that is the reason we call it as runtime polymorphism. And if you see, we have printed 10,000 because we say 100 and 100. That's the reason we are getting 10,000. Because base salary, we consider it as zero for a contractual employee, and the hourly rate is 100 and total number of hours is 100 as well. That's what we passed from our constructor. I mean, to the constructor of the contractual employee, we passed 100 and 100. That's the reason it multiplied and plus 0, and it's 10,000. So that's it for today. In this video, we wanted to understand the concept behind runtime polymorphism or method overriding. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.